Did you know that a staggering 97% of hardware startups ultimately crash and burn? As a product designer myself, I really don't want to fall into this overwhelming category, so I decided to look into it, and what I found is that most of these startups failed for one of these three reasons. Now, the first reason is a flawed pricing strategy. Most products solve a problem, and there's a price people are willing to pay for that solution. But with hardware, the cost of design, research, and manufacturing add up very quickly, and customers aren't going to pay a premium just because your product was expensive to develop. A good example of this is the startup Juicero, who famously hired 12 PhDs and 50 engineers to over-design a smart juicer that launched at $700 into a market where the most premium juicers were only around $200. Now, the obvious solution is to keep your design team lean and to sell your products at less of a margin. And that's exactly what the startup Anki did with their smart robot Cosmo. At a $300 price point, this was definitely a premium toy, but they delivered on their core value proposition and were able to climb their way to the top of Amazon's bestseller list in 2017. Unfortunately, that brings us to the second reason these startups fail, and that is a failed business model. At its peak, Anki was generating over $100 million in annual revenue, but its business model relied on one-time sales that were overall a net loss for the company. Despite having a popular product, the unit economics were fundamentally flawed, and the company failed almost overnight. And finally, the third and most common reason hardware startups fail is that they did not actually solve a problem. The easiest way to avoid falling into this trap is to go out and find a product that is already solving a problem and people are already paying for it. If your idea can solve that problem and add value that doesn't exist in the current offerings, then you can compete in an already proven market. Now, if you've got a product idea and you want to know if it's a valid market or what a viable business model would look like, I've built a tool that does just that, and you guys can actually try it for free at validator.techrandom.com. This is my first time releasing something like this publicly, so please give it a shot and leave some feedback for me. I would really appreciate it.